to pledge in prayer.
Well, do I step
What is
in
it?
for Ben? Ben was out today of
Oh,
prayer, but I don't know where he's at.
I've got plenty of practice.
Are you texting him? Oh,
Sorry.
more important.
I like to cut the middleman since we're gonna stand back up in a minute. I don't want to sit down. So I guess.
Good morning.
Right. As you can tell, I avoid as much exercise as possible.
Maybe Ben will get here. I texted him. Jealous.
Let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor our Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the
flag.
Oh, sorry. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state,
under God, one
and indivisible.
Work on that.
Yeah. Let's pray. God, you are amazing. We thank you for the moisture that we're getting. And Lord, I just pray right now that in this meeting, that we do what you called us to do, be wise in how we do things, give us knowledge to know what to do and wisdom to know how to do it. Protect all of our first responders, not just here in Hudson County, but all over the world. We thank you, God, for just how you do things. Lord, be today our guidance, our comforter. And Lord, in everything we do, we pray that you receive all the glory. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's actually the Greek word for
Okay,
blanket.
did y'all have a chance to look over the bills?
Yes. I'm moved.
He's not coming. All he said.
I'm moved to pay the bills as presented. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second to pay the bills as presented. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Kathy, do you have any payroll?
I have a few employees. Okay, we have a new one that started October the 3rd, Oscar Rojas, and he's in the sheriff's department, field deputy. And then we have Andrew Murray, and he's in the jail corrections officer, and he started October 5th. And then Mark Hagberg went to work part-time in the library on October 3rd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, item 5, any additions or corrections to our previous commissioners court meeting?
No corrections. That was the October 10th meeting.
Okay, thank you. Item 6, any public comments? No, hearing none. Okay, item 7 is to adjourn into executive session. There's Craig. Okay, which is consultation with attorney. So Joe, if you want to stay, Craig, everyone else, if you'll just have a seat out in the hallway, please. Are you taking your laptop? Gary, we're going to put you in a breakout room, so you'll just have to accept that, I think.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I think you can just put them into it automatically.
I signed, manually.
I don't know how many, I sent them an email Friday.
And I think you just have to go get him, maybe. Yeah, put iPhone Gary in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your.
Open, maybe.
25. I know there were people from our church on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I'll just make sure. that they're
Oh, awesome.
on.
Yeah, maybe do join.
They get the notice to you.
Yes. Okay. All right, Jerry, are you back there? Hey, Gary, you're gonna have to jump back in.
We can't hear you because he's still in the breakout
Oh,
room.
he's still in the breakout room. Well,
I think you can pull it from that.
can you go get him? Oh,
There he is.
there.
Gary, can you hear us?
All right, well, I'll let you work on that one. Okay, here we go.
1 second, the mic is-
Okay, item 7 or item 8 was to consider and or approve any action from the executive session, but no action at this time. Item 9 is to consider and or approve the county purchasing card program with city treasury and trade solutions. Something?
Yeah, I've been talking with Todd with city and he's gonna present to y'all how his purchasing card program works. This will just give us a little bit more control over the current credit card situation that we have going on in the county now.
How you doing,
Hi,
Tom?
thanks for coming.
I've been talking with the city auditor or the county auditor about bringing over our business to Citibank. And you guys had some questions, wanted to kind of talk about the security of it and benefits to the county. So if you have questions, I can answer any questions, but I can go ahead and talk about the program. It's a state contracted program by the state of Texas through the comptroller's office. Currently, there's we have a statewide card program for every agency, university, and any county or municipality that wants to join the program. There is no individual contract for the county. You guys would just have to be current members of the state's contract buy board, which is Smart Buy. I think you guys currently are. So you're able to use all the contracts and the vetting from that's already from the state. The program, it kind of is controlled by you guys. You guys have the ability to order cards, cancel cards in the system and provide where the merchants are able to be used through merchant, what we call merchant category codes. Those codes will enable you to use, whether it's say Amazon or Walmart, or block those individual merchants on an individual basis. So some cards can have the ability to purchase here, some cards can have the ability to purchase here. They can be used for both travel and purchase so that you don't have to give travel out. The ability to reconcile in our systems and hold receipts and look at it past even for 36 months. City houses all data and all charge information for 7 years. So that's available to you, but at a request. You guys kind of can up and move the credit limits up and down. If somebody needs to travel, they can keep it at $1 until they need to travel, or you can raise that up if you need it, or if they need to purchase, if you want to use PO. It's just a method of payment. City does pay a rebate for on-time payment. So the city currently is paying 1.93% back to the county twice a year for the prior 6 months spent on each of that. So it's paid in December and in June for the prior 6 months. You guys can increase that rebate by paying earlier. So we don't see that as much with counties because the way you have the permission to pay and stuff. But each day you pay earlier, you earn an additional 70 bips. So the max rebate right now in the state is 2.1475. And that would be paying the day after statement. Statements are all electronic currently. If you need paper, we can provide paper statements to you on an asking basis. You can shut off a card immediately via phone or system and temporary suspend cards. So if you have people that are leaving or going on leave, you can suspend their cards as needed. If you have an emergency, you can open them up. Questions? And that's going to be kind of brief overview. I mean,
On these cards, and I kind of already know the answer to it, but let's say we don't give people cards, but
Yeah.
they come and check out cards.
Yeah, they
How
can.
does that work?
So you can, what typically I see with counties is they do a checkout card, kind of like the library, the old card, index card system is you can put a card in the county's name, you can put a card in somebody else's name, you can put it in a department card in the name. And what they do is they come in, they have a travel voucher, they're ready to check out a card. You load the card for how much and the time frame that they're going to be out, put their phone number, and that's kind of important because sometimes if we don't have the correct phone number on the account, we may be pinging the wrong person if you're at a gas station or someplace we suspect that there's been issues with card in the past, and we want to make sure you have the card in hand, or we're seeing weird charges on your card and we're not used to it, then we want to make sure you have that card, so city will ping that card holder. But it's just simple as going into our system, logging in, raising the credit limit from $1 to whatever they need for that trip or that time frame. You could either set limits on start and finish dates of that program, or you can leave it as it is. And then they come back, they return the card, you lower the limit. If you set a date, the limit would automatically revert back to $1 when their travel's done. You can move different templates over. So if they only need to do travel and they don't need to do any purchasing, you can just limit it to just travel so that they can't do any of this other, anything they need. If they need to just do purchasing, you can just limit it to purchase transactions.
How many administrators can you put on an account?
I can put as many as you want. So, you know, I do have counties, some of the larger counties that have an administrator in each department, or I have some smaller counties that have an administrator in just the clerk's office or the office of the auditor. So usually, typically what I like to see is somebody that administers the card and somebody's in charge of payments. And then there is always a backup to the person that can administer cards, so somebody else can look into it. But you can give auditors access just at a read-only view, so that they can only look at what's being charged. They can't order a card or anything like that. So if somebody is making a payment.
In a county our size, if you're familiar with any counties our size, is it usually the treasurer's office and the auditor, or how does that usually work? Who's the administrators?
Whoever you guys want. Usually it's the auditor's office, that's the administrator. And then you have the treasurer's office as the payment type.
But our treasurer's office doesn't issue payments,
Okay.
so we'd have to figure that out.
And I mean, I could put you in touch with other counties around, you know, the area.
Can you name drop some that are we know right now?
I
If
can't
not,
name
that's
nobody right
okay.
now. I have other clients in the area, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you could say that or not. What do you get out, or what does the city get? How do they get money?
Well, the way it works is, so every merchant, and I kind of explain this, is it's a state contract. So currently the contract is X amount of dollars through the state. So every time you guys, anybody charges on a credit card, say it's $100 and that merchant's charging you $100, there's a processing fee.
For the merchant?
So from that merchant, whether it's 4%, which is the state max, or some other fee, they don't necessarily pass that on to you. They only get $96 out of that $100 charge. Out of that fee, their bank, who they provide by the terminal from, takes a percentage of that fee. And MasterCard takes a percentage of that fee, and then Citibank gets a percentage of that fee. Now, what we do is we pay you back a percentage of that fee based on your on-time payment.
Yeah.
So that's where the rebate comes into it, is like 1.93 is a percentage of that fee. So Citi may be getting, I don't know what we get, but you know, we may be getting 2.5, and we give you two up to 2.14 of that. MasterCard takes their piece, and it's a transaction process.
So there's not any upfront fees for us or
There's no
annual
upfront fees, there's no
fees?
cost, annual fees for you guys.
We'll probably pay it on time, so we don't even have the interest.
There's no interest. After 60 days, we charge interest. After 150 days, we shut off the account. But there's no anything that defaults. So if you do a charge off on a particular card, it would come off your rebates, and we basically you wouldn't earn a rebate for a late payment or default.
Okay.
We also offer training. We do a couple of annual conferences in the state throughout the year, monthly training online. No cost to you guys. You order as many cards as you want. put your logo or the county name on the card, cost. The city doesn't really charge anything for the program.
Okay.
You guys just get the benefits of the state contract and working it out.
So Alicia, your thoughts? Is this gonna be
So,
easier for you or?
yes and no. So, with this, so the way that I kind of have it working in my head was that each department would request the number of cards that they would want or need, you know, based on, I know that like the sheriff's department would probably need a lot more because they do transports and different things of that nature versus, you know, Jan's office, she may not want any in her office and maybe just want to come check out a card when she needs one. That we could keep in our office or at the annex, I may rope somebody in to be in my custodian over there. I don't know how, haven't gotten all that done out.
Mhm.
But anyway, they would request the number of cards that they would need. I would bring that to you guys to let you review that and you can approve
Put it-
that and say,
approve it.
yes.
Mhm.
We approve this number. You may say, Jan doesn't need 60 cards, you know, that she's requesting or whatever. And so once those are approved, then we'll have purchasing policies that will still have to be followed. So, you know, purchase orders will still have to be requested if it's over $1,000, things like that. There will be a policy that I will make that I'll present to you before that will list what they can use purchases for, what they cannot use purchases for, the liability, there'll be forms. I've found different templates from other counties. Randall County has a really good policy that I've been looking at. That everybody that gets a card, they'll both sign, you know, sign a form accepting the responsibility of that card. It will get rid of reimbursing individuals for a lot of expenditures. A lot of people go online and buy stuff and they just use their personal credit cards. And then give me a receipt and say, hey, pay me back for this. So that will get rid of a lot of that where they could actually use it. And there's a little more control. We do have some cards now in the county, but right now the court or the treasurer's department has no control over those. In fact, I really don't know exactly who all has cards.
Right.
So,
So you would have the control to go in and set the limits or turn
Yeah.
on and off the
If I
cards.
gave that- if
right.
the court gave that control.
And that
to
would
me,
be something you would be okay with
Yes,
monitoring? Okay.
yes.
Well, I know cities, I mean, every city does it and most schools do it this way. So it's not a new concept and all the fears of, well, what if we got a rogue employee? Y'all have already handled all of
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Yeah,
what
it's-
we see is if you have a rogue employee, to be honest with you, you have a rogue employee.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna notice it faster with credit card versus with ACH or any
Yeah.
type of fraud. I mean, we do see that on both sides, but you do have the ability, you get 60 days to dispute or place fraud notice on a charge from the statement made. So, you know, in essence, you could have almost 90 days, but you guys have the ability to look into anybody's account. So it's not like you're seeing, you know, this charge and Johnny bringing this charge to you that's fraudulent, but you could have seen that before. You can run reports on merchant spend and delinquencies and that type of stuff. So you can keep an eye on it, you know, what's going on.
Y'all have any more
Well,
questions?
thank you, Todd, for sharing with
Thank you.
us.
Thank you.
Let me know if you have any other questions.
Well, I wasn't dismissing you. She's the boss. I was just
No,
saying, thank you for.
Do you guys have any more questions? Okay, all right. No, good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
And I've talked with Tyler and Encode and seeing how it works with our software, and they do have an import feature where I don't think it's gonna be a whole lot of extra work on the accounts payable side and other than keeping up with each card, which I've got experience from school, keeping up with all the credit cards, so. I think it's a positive thing. We just need to develop good, strong policies
Right. I think it could be a really positive thing for the purchasing aspect of it. Is that we run into a lot of stumbling blocks with that. Do y'all have any questions or motion or?
So what are we doing? I mean, are we trying to decide now, like which departments get it? I mean, are we? deciding-
No, I think we just-
If y'all, if it's okay if we move forward with the program and develop policies to,
Just initiating that.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
I know Chris has been advocating for this since I've been on the court. So if he wants to make the motion,
I
I'll
didn't
tip
do
my
it.
hat.
I didn't do any of the work though, but I'll make a
I
motion
didn't
to
either.
approve the county purchasing agreement with city.
Did you get references on this, Alicia, from this company? Did you talk to the county?
yes, well, I didn't talk to him, but I have looked at listserv where
They use
many
this company?
other companies, yeah, many other counties have used.
Okay, we have a motion.
I second it.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carry two. Okay, item 10 is to consider and or approve continuation certificate for Pamela Nicholas in the amount of $5,000. This is just her bond.
So moved.
Second,
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right, item 11 was to consider and or approve the sales order contract with Avenue Local Government Solutions for the digitation project.
And that's something that I want to move forward with, but I want to table it until November the 14th. There's just something on, Craig approved the contract sales order, no problems, but there's something I need to know from them before I move forward.
So a motion to table.
I moved to table.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, item 12 is to consider and or approve renewing the contract with Tyler Technologies for jail manager components. So we did get the bill, and with the jail manager and law enforcement components, the bill is, or the pro forma invoice, not an invoice, is 116, yeah, 116,975.04. I think the letter of renewal said 115. So, but we haven't got the actual invoice. So I do think that if we move forward with this, we are going to see if we can't separate out some costs, possibly law enforcement or jail manager, and see if we can't get them to knock off some money for the law enforcement if we move forward to it. So are you guys, what's your thoughts, Sheriff?
Well, this gentleman for the law enforcement side has been great. I mean, we got some boats are working out, but when it came to the jail manager side, I didn't, it was presented the way that the sales team had presented it, is that they had a team that, or a program that would talk to Odyssey. And so I really didn't look too far into how much problems it was going to cause every department in the whole county until everyone started mentioning it. And so looking into it more, there's a whole laundry list of stuff, but it's just pain. So I got a hold of Spillman last week. They are going to probably waive any maintenance fees for the jail stuff. Continuing forward. However, they're going to get with their sales team and then talk to me about the work they've already done. I mean,
So we really don't know if Spillman will, because I think Craig is talking to him also, correct, Craig?
hopefully we can.
I've only talked to the sheriff,
Oh, okay.
so what I know is what he.
Yeah, and they're just like kind of their support team that's kind of non-existent. They take their time and they don't really get with us. I mean, they made quite a few promises that we're not getting what we paid for. So, however, this ultimately falls on me. So whatever we need to pay, I'm not glad that we can make it work.
So going forward, I know we want to have it to where Tyler talks like between you guys and the offices. So tell me how like a warrant works. Like, are you going to put it in Spillman? Are you guys going to have to do double work now to do Spillman
No,
and Tyler? How does
I
it work?
don't think so.
Okay.
I think with the jail stuff, we'll just go back to the old way we've been doing it. And our position will be just basically, I mean, it integrates with dispatch so well that we won't have anything to do with that. So, okay. And I know the JPs will have access to the Spillman if they need to add stuff because the city of Corpus using them, they're going paper. So they're gonna have to.
And I asked Craig this earlier and we really didn't know. Does Border PD, do they have to talk with our district clerks at all with like warrants or any of their arrests?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, because
Are they running into that problem with their municipal court, like Spillman and Tyler? Do you know?
I don't know specifically. I
Okay.
did talk to Judge Ford a little bit about it. I really didn't dive too much into it.
Okay.
I do know that they were gonna have access to the jail stuff and I did appreciate that, but.
I don't think their software system that I don't know was in code. I think that, which operates a little differently, even though Tyler still owns it.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Definitely a lesson.
but I just know for us, it's not integrating with Tyler the way it promised that it would.
Well, and hopefully if I can work with Craig and we can get out of the jail portion without having to pay anything out of it, since I don't think we've delivered any money to them.
We haven't, we just
So-
received the invoice over the weekend.
So we just need to get the jail back and up and running with the,
We just need to decide if we're gonna continue with Tyler, because we had sent Tyler a termination notice,
oh, okay. And so.
which we're on Tyler until December 31st. We still have their services, but that's when it stops.
No, until.
Well, no, that October was
The letter is the,
December the 1st.
December 1st, not 31st. Yeah, is when it terminates officially. But we have to let them know renewal,
This week.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
by the
November
31st.
1st, okay.
Yeah, or November 1st, 30 days.
Okay.
So at this point, if we decide to go back to Tyler and with jail manager, then we need to figure out where that money's gonna come from. That portion, we've already budgeted for the other, everybody else.
And only, and we budgeted for the case manager for like the courts and stuff. But we did not budget for the jail manager or any of that portion because it was gonna go away in December. So we weren't gonna pay for it.
So that's about $40,000.
if we can get them to not get reduce it.
Well, this is Tyler. Yeah, but there's a possibility that we might be able to separate out jail manager and law enforcement. But, what's that gonna save us? Because that's 432. It might only
So
be,
that we're paying would pay the complete all 5 portions of that for Tyler.
no, the Odyssey case manager is 74,600.
Yeah.
The jail manager and law enforcement is 32,400.
So we're trying to
Well,
get that
plus-
one.
We're trying to get this, yeah,
Right.
cut down, the
So
32,400.
The total for the jail and law enforcement side is 42,282.24.
See, they have other components like
All of
the live scan, the mug shots, and the jail data export.
So we might be able to cut 42 out, but that's not a guarantee.
But we can't cut 42 out. We might be able,
Probably will cut about 20.
maybe,
Or separated the SO from the jail, I think it's 19.
Yeah.
a piece, so.
Okay.
But
Maybe.
We can. I know we'll get the jail.
if Craig can do some creative talking.
I don't know if Tyler sells that as 2 different pieces or if it's one piece. So if we can talk to Tyler and say, we only want one piece of it and they charge us 20,000 instead of 32,000 for it.
We gotta make it work.
It's difficult to find the right person to talk to at Tyler
I
to
call
get that
them.
information.
I can't.
And
Voicemail.
every time you call, it's somebody different and it's
Nobody asked for Tyler.
hard to find. Nobody asked for
Is Tyler
actual
there?
Tyler. Can I speak to Tyler? No.
I mean, we've got to make it work though, regardless.
I would think
Amount.
probably a salesperson would know that whether we could separate the two. And how much it.
They would know if we could, but they
Yeah,
probably wouldn't
and
know
then we would
the
need to
dollar.
Find out if they will allow us to, since we're in
Right.
their contract, I would think.
So the decision that we need to make today is, if we want to, is are we gonna go back with Tyler? And where are we gonna get that money if they don't discount anything, or even if they do discount a little, hopefully? But where is that money gonna come from?
I've looked at the budget and I've talked to Monica, we can take it out of the jail. And she said if she has anything for the rest of the year, she'll do it. You got the jail equipment budget, it's at 40, we might have to do a line item transfer to cover the 2,000 of something else, but.
So I mean, we've got the contingency fund and we have ARP funds that, I mean, we just need to chalk it up as something as a collective group, we didn't ask enough questions. We were fed kind of false goods, and I don't see punishing you guys for that
Well, I
monetary.
should have paid more attention, but like I said, when I figured the programs would talk to each other, I was like, oh, it's really
Right.
great. So, but then again, I should have did some more. I mean, it's on me, so.
I've made many mistakes before.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah.
We just gotta own them and
Let's go ahead. Do y'all, are you ready to make a motion or?
Yeah, so we're motioning, let me rehearse this. We're motioning to enter back in or renew the contract with Tyler and
For the jail manager.
for the jail manager portion. And we're gonna take the money out of the budget. So what,
but we gotta decide where we're taking. You mean like contingency or?
I don't know,
That's what we gotta
That's what I was trying to figure out,
My
what
suggestion would be ARP for this year.
suggesting ARP this year.
That'd be my suggestion, but you guys can chime in on
What
that.
are you suggesting?
I mean, both of them at this point are. I mean, it's 12 and one, a dozen the other, so.
It's gonna be about, it could be around $40,000.
Okay,
I'm fine with it.
I move to renew the contract with Tyler for the jail portion. Taking the funds out of the ARP funds for
For
this
this
year alone.
Okay.
And budgeting for next.
I'll second.
All right, motion and second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? Yes, okay. Very good.
Sorry, I got confused. I turned and looked.
Thanks,
got the-
Right. On a lighter note. Item 13, consider and or approve holidays for 2023. And y'all got the list. Oh, here, Lisa. Y'all got the list of the holidays. Any questions on those? Did I get those to you? Okay. One motion?
Make a motion, we approve the 23 holidays.
Oh, we forgot that one. Groundhog Day. Did you second? Oh,
Gary did.
oh, Gary seconded. Okay, Gary second via Zoom. So we have motion and second. Any further discussion on the holidays? All in favor? Oh, there's Gary. There might be a little lag where he's at. All right, item 14, consider and or approve retiree supplement over 65 years of age insurance increase. Kathy, did you have?
Well, we currently have about 8 retirees that are over 65 that take this plan. It's called Bay Bridge Administrators now. It's really the Hartford. But, we don't always have an increase every year, but this year, it's going, the current rate that the county pays on it is $96.49, and then the retiree pays the $82.20. So it's about 54% the county pays. So if we stay at 54%, the county's gonna pick up $98.90 and the retiree's gonna pick up $84.25. Or you can have the retirees pick up the whole
So
increase.
are we, do we have this in our budget?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, well, no, probably not. I don't think it's gonna make, it's such few dollars though.
That it's
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
don't
be
think it will.
crucial?
Because usually,
16 a month.
I say this, during the year, we might lose a retiree
Right,
and then the county's not out that $96.49.
right.
But it's just so few dollars. Or like I said, the You could have the retirees pick up the amount,
The increase.
the increase. But it's about 54% that the county pays right now on it. Whereas the under 65 employees, retirees would have, the county picks up about 46.72%.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask you. When we voted on the budget, we chose to put the burden on the employees under 65, didn't we?
Correct, correct. So do you want to put the burden on the people over 65?
And that you
When
said
you
how
say
many
that,
was
That makes
that?
my heart.
Oh, well, I don't mean it that way. I shouldn't say.
I don't, Chris
Do you
might.
want to put the
Hey,
increase?
man, just joking, just joking.
You know, you want to put the increase. We have 8 of them.
Yeah. Because we know it was just a tough time, or maybe tough in the year to come.
But this goes in effect January the 1st. And like I said, I don't think we had an increase last year, but we did the year before, but then it was like 5 or 6 years before we had an increase from this company. Because it is a supplement and it does not pay any on prescriptions. This supplement plan, if you have Medicare Part A and B, this is your supplement to Part B. It picks up that 20% that your other doesn't pay. But as far as prescriptions, Part D, it does not pay anything on prescriptions. That is because when they first started this years ago, the court said, if we had to look at everybody's prescription to see how much was covered in which plan, that'd be way too much of a responsibility for the court to have to choose a plan for just that, those people. So they said, we'll just do the supplement part of it. So that's what they did.
Well, my feelings are, because we've had the employees have to take on the increase, and then we've had those that retired under 65 take on the increase. I feel like we got to do it for everybody. And so if we had, everybody had to take on the increase on their own and the county didn't pick it up, then I don't think we would change. But this is just Dwight's idea. We wouldn't change for that either.
We said under 65 is like 46%
It's 46.72.
that we cover.
Yeah.
I mean, because if we put that onto the retiree, it'd still be about 50, probably about 52% county
Still-
covered,
Yeah.
still higher than the lower.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they have an increase though, it's really not a large, that's not much of an increase, and if, I will say, because I'm fixing to go on Medicare, that 96.49, the rate we pay now, and then the 98.90, that's very comparable with other plans. It is, because I've already looked for myself one, not this one, but another one. Now, the only thing about this plan is if you go and get a supplement, and most of those you can get, you don't have any deductible except for your $233 that Medicare charges for everybody in the whole world, a year. But now this one right here, you do have a $500 deductible. So this is what I tell these people when they decide if they're going to go on this plan. You need to add your premiums. They're paying right now $82.20. You need to add that times 12 and that $500 to make your decision on whether you want to stay with the counties or you want to get you a supplement through an insurance company. Now, you could look at a different plan, but your county and the employee is going to pay more. If you don't have that $500 deductible, you're going to pay more. So it's whatever you want to do.
Well, my feeling is, like I stated, we put the burden on the employee and we got to keep the
Sure, I understand.
thing going forward.
So do you want to make a
Motion.
motion?
Yes. I so move to, I don't really know what I'm saying exactly.
Well, that the retiree over 65 will take the increase.
The insurance.
I so move that the retiree over the age of 65 will take the increase from Humana
Now it's from.
or Bay Bridge, sorry,
Yeah. Instead
of the county
Paying the increase.
paying the increase.
I'll second.
Okay, motion.
Effective January 1. I like how a motion, I just have like an audience.
Jan completely got that.
Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? Okay. And Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, item 15 is to consider and or approve the appointment of Daryl Newhall to the Hutchinson County Airport Board. And I think Dennis is on and he may have wanted to address that. Are you there, Dennis? You're gonna have to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can. Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
oh,
Okay, about a year and a half ago, I'd received a telephone call from Mr. Daryl Newhall, who at the time was living in San Diego, California. And he had a lot of questions about my airport. And he explained what he had been a naval pilot. He owned 2 single-engine airplanes. And he's planning on moving to Fritz, Texas. And he's done that. And he's moved his airplanes out here. And he's presently semi-retired. And we need a board member. Miss Carrie Roten had to resign due to the fact she's so busy with her husband's medical practice. So my request is that Daryl Newhall be appointed to the airport board.
okay, thanks, Dennis. Y'all have any questions for him?
Gary, do you motion?
Did you make that motion, Gary? We can't hear you. I can see your head shaking.
Yes.
Doesn't matter how close you get.
All right.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second to appoint Daryl Newhall to the Hutchinson County Airport Board. Is there any discussion? Questions for Dennis? All in favor? Okay, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you, appreciate it.
If he gets really close to it, we can hear him, I bet.
Item 16 is to consider and or approve the application of the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund. Okay, so this is information that I got from NACO. I think I sent it out to y'all so you could read it. And it's about a new portion of the ARP for eligible revenue sharing counties that have federal lands in their county. And so since we do out at Lake Meredith, I looked this up to see how much we would be eligible for, and it's $50,000 to our county. And it's kind of like the ARP funds. It says we have to request the funding by January 31st. If we don't, then we lose our right to ever request it. And so we have to get an application in by the 31st. It says recipients have broad discretion on uses of funds similar to the ways in which they may be used generated from their own revenue sources. So other than that, I know NACO did a call, but it was kind of after the fact. I don't think I was on here, but there is a local assistance and tribal consistency fund kind of agreement that would have Craig look over just to make sure. But if we want to move forward with this, then I'll have Craig review all of this for approval. What are your thoughts?
I like it.
Pretty much.
I so move to have pending Craig's evaluation of the application and approval agreement, submit that, giving,
So I think it's a one-time payment.
okay.
It might do half and half, but
I think
It
it's
said in there it's 2. They'll do one on a rolling basis and the second at the beginning.
Right. half and half,
And
right?
there will be a report, an annual report required to be submitted regarding those.
How we spent the money. Okay. Yeah, it says it can be used for any governmental purpose other than a lobbying activity. So,
Well, our lobbies
And
look
they
good.
haven't decided what the reporting requirements are gonna be yet. Exactly, it said it's just expected to require data on obligations and expenditures by category of use and certification that funds have not been used to fund lobbying activities.
okay,
So I think.
It's pretty broad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You spent it on and
what we spend it on. Yeah.
so I will probably just incorporate it into that Fund 46.
Right.
But break it out as an own, like its own department.
Yes,
So that we can track it.
right. Okay. All right, well, so we have a motion to proceed with that application
And Gary seconded.
and Gary seconded. So all in favor or any discussion, any more discussion on that? All in favor? And Gary, all right, great. We'll get that started. Okay, item 17 is to consider and or approve the CSCD statement of financial position. Y'all received that. I emailed it to you. So it just, is this required? Lisa, we've never done this before that I'm aware of. You don't know?
I didn't know it was, I mean. It's required that I do it and it's submitted to the state of Texas, but I think it's just more informational. I don't think you have to make a motion on it. I think it's
It's just
probably.
that we received it.
Yes, that you received it. It's been made of. I'm not sure, Jennifer.
Well, we'll go ahead and consider and or approve it, but it is their assets and
It's
liabilities and
basically
their,
the balance sheet for
Yeah.
the adult probation department for their state funding.
Make a motion, we accept and approve that report.
I second it.
okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right, item 18 is to consider and or approve trade-in or transfer of sheriff's department vehicles. So sheriff is in the process of buying 3, correct, Sheriff?
Yes, ma'am.
And so I did visit with the sheriff the other day on what we're gonna do with the older vehicles. There wasn't a plan, is that correct? There's no real plan to do anything at present if someone else needs the vehicles.
Yes, ma'am. We're gonna keep one because we're just putting on information for that investigator grant. So that'll take care of that. We'll have 2 others. I know you had mentioned
And they're Tahoes, right?
waiting to see if other departments need vehicles before trying to trade them in. So I just wanted to.
Yeah, we just need to decide what needs to happen.
My IT's got an old pickup. Breaking down, you know.
So do you have any idea when you're gonna get those other vehicles in or?
Call and find out. I'm pretty sure they were in stock, so just a bit of time.
Okay, because it'd be nice to get, if we're gonna trade them, to get that off that invoice before, but I don't know if anyone needs a vehicle. I don't know
I'll take one.
about our pickup out there. And I just need to ask Eddie about it. So that's something I'm gonna have to talk to some people about. And, but I think that if there's no need for them in the county somewhere, we definitely need to trade. They don't need to sit, correct?
Right. Yeah. We don't need to store them, but if the county can use them.
And if not, I'll have work.
And if somebody can use them, then do we trade in the ones that are taking on the?
Yeah, like say Russell needs a new vehicle, a newer vehicle than his truck. So then we need to make the decision if we do that, do we trade his vehicle?
Yes.
Or do we sell them outright or?
I don't know
If
that,
we do that, we have to bid. We have to bid that
I
out.
think it'd be easier to trade them.
Just try to see what we could trade it.
Okay, so do you guys want to make a motion to that effect about the transfer of vehicles? I know Dwight's thinking about.
So I'm
it.
confused because we're really motioning to do research.
Yeah.
We
Well,
don't really motion, just,
we could decide,
I just
one.
suggest everyone look for something
And
and
then
then come back to us when
hopefully we
you say,
can-
hey, this department needs this, and we can do all the transfer verbally. to a mo-
we just
And like, if they're gonna ship it though, then we're gonna miss out on the trade-in window. if-
trade in window. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Oh, okay, I see. Because it's
I
still
think we can make-
contingent on your,
We can make a motion just to approve the trade-in of 2 vehicles.
We just don't know what vehicles they are.
Have
oh, okay,
him-
that makes,
They
that
can,
makes
he can
better
find
sense.
somebody, and then if not.
Yes.
Just
Is
two.
that your motion?
Forward on getting the.
Yeah, that makes,
Can you put something in the minutes saying?
well, that's what he's saying.
So you,
And
yeah,
I don't like that we're not putting any vehicles in the minutes.
well, we're about to.
He's, what he said, we'll do
We're
that.
about to. So you said 2. You're gonna keep 1. Okay. So I'll make a motion. We give the sheriff's department authority to trade in 2 vehicles with the purchase of the new squad cars or squad units.
Okay, but what if somebody needs those vehicles? Then they trade in that,
He just said 2
Just
vehicles.
2
Two
vehicles in
vehicles.
general.
okay,
Like if he finds somebody that needs them, then if there's 2 trucks, if they give us $1,000, they give us $1,000.
Right.
It's 2 general vehicles.
2 vehicles.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get a trade-in. Okay, so
I
you
don't know if-
motioned,
Gary raised his hand, but.
Gary seconded. Did you second that, Gary? Okay,
Yes.
all right, all in favor then?
I didn't know if he was picking his nose or raising it.
No telling. Okay. The next item is item 19, consider and or approve any ARP grant projects. So we have a few, and we'll just start with the one that's probably got the most people here today, and that's the United Way ARP project request for mental health. So Julie sent a revised and updated application today with some supporting information. I made a copy for everybody. Yeah, so
He hasn't got it.
did I not? Oh, maybe I didn't bring it in here. Wait, no, here it is. Sorry,
Hit me.
I was going to. So Julie, do you want to speak to this? Do you have anything? I know there's a lot of new information on here. You can come up here to the podium.
So last week was a very busy week, and we had a couple of ladies from Via Hope in who are helping us through a learning collaborative, just kind of giving us guidance and direction on what we can do within the county. And so I had them in, they met with 6 different groups of people last week, including like the schools, the doctor, my agencies, the mental health task force. And so from that, we came up with the possibilities of the direction that we want to go. That is why you did not get this any sooner, is because all of this took place Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of last week. So from those meetings, then we created the rewrite of the application. So we're really looking at 4 little different areas. The first one is incentive. My words are leaving me. Stipend for our licensed professionals. Whether they're licensed or they're seeking licensure. We have the listed out amounts of money for that, $38,000. We were introduced to a wellness recovery action plan program, which the schools were super interested in us implementing. And so for that money, it's all training with the intent that at the end of that, we would have someone within the county trained that can continue to train people for a lifetime, where we wouldn't have to bring someone else in for training in this program. The third area is the recruitment of peer specialists. We would like to recruit 1 full-time peer specialist and a couple of part-time peer specialists. The full-time peer specialist that we have in mind right now would be a good fit for drug court. He has a background of addiction and incarceration and has come out of that. And he's currently doing this in another county. We have spoke with him over the week. He is interested in pursuing the possibility of coming here. So we're in conversation with him. And
Who is
through
that?
this week, several people have stepped up and expressed interest in doing the different things that we're trying to bring forward in this grant application. And then we have just a little bit of money to still help us with the local mental health guide website creation, just to kind of help people know that if there's something in the community that we can't offer, they might have the opportunity of finding it and seeing it. So that's briefly, and I know we've thrown a lot of information at you here, so we're happy to answer questions or see what your thoughts are.
Who's the person that you're looking at bringing in?
His name is Rico Goff. He currently lives in Freetown, but he works out of Plainview with Central Plains. Y'all help correct me if I'm wrong here. And so he's doing this in another county. There's some things that that would make him desire to be here in our county. And so he was going to have to come and talk to his family. And he knew we were coming here to visit with y'all. So we will just continue conversations as we go forward. And Dr. Judge Mosley was at our meeting on Friday. Rico came over and joined us while I was there. And so I've also visited with Judge Mosley a little bit to see what his thoughts were of Rico. And he was very positive. And with some of the projects that we're doing about.
So his primary function would be to work supportively with the drug court.
And others, but most definitely in drug court, because that's where he was confident community is the drug court. He could also eventually be our person that could kind of oversee as the peer specialist program grew. He could probably has the potential of being a supervisor over that program.
So who's going to pay him?
All right, so we had that conversation last night. So it could go United Way can become an employee and us pay him through the grant. And I mean, it could be that if y'all would rather do that as the county. I mean, we can work those little details out, but that is something that United Way can pay a salary. And so also the other long-term goal of this is as we put the facility together that becomes a nonprofit, eventually they will be the ones that will be asking for money, will be spending the money, we'll have a board of directors that will be supervising and doing everything.
So are there,
That would be long-term goal.
okay, is there federal money out there for them if they do get together and become a nonprofit? Is there federal money to?
There is federal money right now, but there are lots of foundations that I've already been speaking with. So I have a friend that serves on the board of Emory Area Foundation and the Harrington Foundation. Asked her peer support would fall under something. She said yes, knowing that you still have to apply and you'll have to get approving that that is two organizations. And then the Meadows Foundation and the Hogg Foundation are both two very large organizations that fund mental health in big ways.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do next as the task force is, because we learned so much last week, is sit down, figure out the whole picture of what we need to sustain this for the long haul and start asking for those grants.
Right. So the clientele that you hope to serve, it's just anybody in the community, because you know what I see from the clientele that we deal with, most of these people can't afford to pay anything.
Right, right.
You know,
They would
so-
not. With being able to, for us to pay the salary, that would take care of it. Down the line, when the nonprofit is formed and you have other providers who can bill Medicaid, then this is a service that is Medicaid billable, but you have to be set up and going and make application and all that. So that's later down the line.
Right.
I don't mean to sound weird, but what if this guy that we met this weekend just came to us and asked for money directly to come to Borger?
That's y'all's decision, right? Yeah.
And we just pay him directly. I mean, because he's coming to our area and gonna develop his residency and all this stuff here, right?
Correct.
potentially?
I mean, that would be that's the long-term goal.
Okay, it's not confirmed yet.
No, because I don't have money and he would come to talk to family. So, I mean, he was going to visit with his wife and make sure that this was a move she would be willing to make. But the biggest plus for him is he has children in Shattuck, Oklahoma. And so it puts
He's
him a whole
closer.
lot closer. So that's why this is a very, very appealing situation to him. There are some things though, we would be looking at United Way and some other funding resources that we have initially to offer like some allowances. He's like mileage and medical insurance, so that we could pick up some of the costs in that to make it a job that he can afford to make here with, as well as
This would just be for 1 year or so,
well, a year and a half
a year and a half.
for him,
Yeah.
for the full-time position. Knowing that that gives us a year and a half to start looking for, if we have a year, then we can figure out how long we can sustain this down the road. That gives us the time that we need to do what we need to do to continue on. I don't know if the grants make a difference, whether we're, are you going to continue to ask long haul for the funding if you choose to pay for him? Whereas we know we will have the means to ask for the long haul from the grants that we're looking at. So that's something to think.
Sadly, we won't have any money after this.
Right. So if you do it the first time, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
We're not starting this from the start. That would be the only thing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So just thinking it through.
Because this is just money we got because of COVID.
Right.
And we won't get it again.
And that was one of the things we initially said with our ARP money is it needs to be sustainable.
Right. And I think we have the avenues to sustain it. This kind of lets us get going, help meet the need, and then we will continue on to find these resources.
So how did you find Via Hope? Because of, go ahead.
Okay. We're in partnership with Panhandle Behavioral Health Alliance, and Shri, the lady that's over that, heard of this grant that was available. And so she just kind of reached out to other people and said, would you be willing to be a part of this? And so we, as a task force, agreed to be a part of this. So for the last year and 3 months, I believe we have been in this learning collaborative where we've had monthly conversations with them. They came to town this past week as part of that grant process. We don't receive any funding for them. It's all their knowledge. They came to town this past week in Amarillo. They did a Peace of Mind conference where they really were able, they had 100 attendees there. They were able to show what the peer specialist program looks like, and had a lot of employers and different people interested in being a peer support group in the room. And so just that community conversation there. But since they were coming, I asked them to come here. Initially, we were trying to do a trauma-informed for the first responders and judicial system. But when we planned it for Thursday and I talked to Jason Pinder, he said, this sounds really great, Julie, but we have this huge training all day long. So we canceled it not to conflict with him, and then the deaths happened.
And then that got canceled.
Yeah. So with them
Everything got
coming to
canceled.
town, I said, hey, why don't you just come to my community, meet my community, and let's figure out how you can help me. And so we now have a bond. We're in that commitment with them until June of next year. So they are at our beck and call. Last night, as my team was talking, I said, hey, let's get her in. So she met with us last night about 9 o'clock, helped us work through some things. And so they're ours until June 2023, but we have such a good relationship with them now, and them seeing our community. They like what's already going on in the community. They think that we have a lot of the supports that are already needed for the peer specialists, for the RAP program, and the professionals that we are getting here in town, that they want to be a part of what we're doing here. So there's a very good relationship there. Did that answer your question?
So have you talked with them about how do they base their training and counseling? Are they Are they biblical based? Are they not? You know, how do they base their fundamental beliefs?
I mean, they're
Counseling.
their counseling's not going to be faith-based, but Rico coming in is a minister.
But he's been within the system of cooking meals and understands who he is as much as they, surrounded by faith. He knows that population isn't necessarily going to accept that right off the bat. So he goes like, is that happening? With like that. And you have to be a hope, right? The hope, I think their role is more like a mentorship kind of role. To help us find mental health resources within our community and establish them so that we can be sustainable. So their trainings and all of their work is based off of, I want to say they've done evidence-based training, kind of like a CBT, which is a cognitive behavioral therapy, but it's evidence-based. They have a lot of research, and I'm pretty sure that that's included in there. That the success rate of the training which they've done have been successful throughout schools. And they were talking to us about how they worked with the Uvalde school system after the shootings and like wellness and recovery plans. So it's legitimate. It is not it's evidence-based training in which they're providing.
I think there's some hyperlinks within the application that if you click on them, it will send you to that more detailed information as well.
So we're not partnering with them, though. They're just a resource.
They're a resource. Right now, we're in partnership with them,
Okay.
but they're a resource for us.
And so this gentleman, when he comes, he will be working. He's not working for them or us. He would be individually working.
He's just working to do his job within the county. Right.
But they would do the action plan, right? The training.
The
They will
rap
do the
raps,
training.
they do the reps.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they will do the training for the peer specialist and the RAP. So even though Rico is in the peer specialist training, he is not complete. It's like a 2-year program and he's in the middle of that. So, and like the HRSA that's mentioned in there, that's new now. That is a little bit of grant money potential there, but they offer a wealth of training and knowledge as well. And they, in that letter from Amanda, they are offering us to be a HRSA site. And what that means is we have to have the one place in town that would be me applying to be a HRSA site. And then if Rico came to town, he would also be applying to be the person. So we would be that person kind of overseeing the program. Rico would be the person doing the program. And there's some benefits there's a lot of benefits that come from that. So it's a good thing that they're willing to take us in and start doing things with us to help us. And the new cycle with them starts in December. So we would be benefiting from things pretty quickly with them. And I know we're throwing a lot at you and putting new information out there, but I got all of this in 3 days last week. So it was very overwhelming as well. We've been to a lot of places in the community, just trying to figure out who's interested, who wants to be involved, and making sure that they're with us and that we're not just throwing something out there because we want it. We want something out there because the community wants it.
Well, I know as when you asked me, what do we want? And I said Friday, something tangible. And I still don't see anything tangible yet. The ideas still, I still see, I still see great ideas. And man, I really appreciate it more than you know, because but it's still nothing to just say, this is what this gets, because still in negotiation with Rico. And so I don't know what our part would be yet.
Yeah, I think your part is pretty much helping us get started, bringing new providers in, and helping us get care specialists to assist in substance abuse and use-related such as the drug board. So I think what your whole thing would be is to just kind of help us get started.
Help you by just saying, here's money.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I actually am worked with 2 people who are working on their licensure.
And as if you can see, part of the recruitment stipend is for providers that want to come in, right? So this is something that they can apply for because therapists aren't in it for the money, or counselors aren't in it for the money. And it shows that it takes about 2 to 4 months for them to get a practice going and sustainable for themselves to have an income. This is a way in which that could help. You have the people that are here and that want to be here, and the peer specialists, support specialists. You have, it's been a lot of talk about RICO, but ultimately we want somebody here to help in your drug court. So does that answer your question?
So the stipends, which would incentivize someone to come.
Right.
Potentially. But those people would be, you know, I mean, they would have to be for-profit people because they have to make a living.
Mhm.
So how are our clientele going to be able to afford those people?
So United Way has the program in which underprivileged citizens are more than welcome to go and apply for a 10 sessions for free through my practice, actually. And so what I've done is the United Way clients that come in and after our 10 sessions, we need more. I've actually reduced my rate to do more of a sliding fee scale for them to make it affordable.
And so how do people find out about that?
Chapin works through the school. So she's introduced it to our school system. I'm in close contact with Dee Dee Conway, as well as the high school.
What about our probation departments? Are they aware of this?
Yeah, that's where Amber comes in.
With-
Contact on.
Juvenile does, but does adult know?
Yes.
Yes.
Breezy comes in.
Okay, okay.
So in this application, the amendment was we asked for 2 hours for court, like county related type of stuff. I mean, that's maybe 1, maybe 2 people, depending on if they count out for paperwork on just court special counseling. I think it's 5% of the 8 hours. It's 2 hours because they were at the original agreement from Recovery Tree was 1 day a week at 8 hours, and we asked for 25%, which was 2 hours. So when I look at this stuff, like I said last meeting, having a past with mental health, well, and a present, dollar for dollar, as much resources we can maximize is important to me. So, you know, I've talked with a couple of providers that are specifically contracted with counties to do the court ordered counseling. So if we do the 2 hour thing, how do we determine which 2 are the most important? Like, how do they get that resource? Like what, I mean, because we need, I mean, court ordered stuff is maximized for me in my head.
Yeah, so this says work closely with drug court that could potentially oversee a multi-person peer specialist program. I think that would easily be in place.
But we only required 2 hours. So what if he gets in and says, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we have so many different ideas and avenues. We don't have, this is exactly what's going to be like hour wise, because the agreement between the addendum agreement was only 2 hours. So he could get in and say, well, we're too busy. And then our probation department says we've got 40 people that need counseling. So how do, 1 or 2 people a week?
Are you saying counseling or like a group? Yeah, is it a group counseling or?
Well, we also haven't even decided that yet either. So it was just 2 hours of county specific work was what the addendum was. That's where I sit. I think I'm okay.
It could be 2 hours of group therapy of which we could service 25 people.
Right.
Because we already have
Potentially.
Watson who uses.
Right.
The council.
And you contract with him
Yeah.
directly.
Yes, but whenever I worked with drug,
He was what?
he is very overworked, like it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Because he contracts with drug court,
Yeah.
with juvenile, and I don't know about adult.
I guess,
That also.
I guess I'm thinking with a peer support specialist with drug court, if he's here 40 hours a week, it's at your discretion. I mean.
So that's a revision from that
That
original.
agreement's not going to,
Yeah.
so that peer specialist is specifically drug court.
I don't think
Like he's only here-
specifically, but I think that
And then
that is where his background of being a peer support specialist come from. So those are going to be the people in the community of which he's going to be able to relate to, because he's been incarcerated and he's figured out
Right.
how to continue life and sustain it. And so to me, it's an automatic.
But he wouldn't, so he would be at our discretion or not? Like, would he work 40 hours with the drug court or 40 hours, like just with people related to the drug court?
Right. I think he,
I think it's related throughout. But one thing that
That's
we
what-
really took into
that's what-
consideration was what he said last time about, if we're going to use this county grant, then it
Right.
needs to provide help to our county. That's very specific. I don't see how do I word this? I feel like either way, the county is being helped.
Well, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Because we can help someone that's not even related in the court system,
Absolutely.
but eventually would end up there, or possibly one of their family members, or
I think our county is very small and it intertwines in a lot of different ways. And I think as counselors and therapists, we have our hands in a lot of different jars. So I do think that we're helping.
Well, nobody said you're not helping,
No, I know.
but she
but
said
I-
at the discretion. So I was just trying to see if it was going to be specific drug court, like Mosley says, this is who's going to, group sessions, or if it's going to be just related. So, I mean, I wasn't trying to say,
Mhm.
I mean, it's all interlinked. That's what, with this type of money, when it's 150,000, I think it is important to ask those questions to make sure we do get the right counseling, the right people get the counseling as much as possible. Because in Hutchinson, and the reason I was asking about the fundamental thing, they don't have to be biblical, but my hesitation for having somebody, and I'm not saying that this group is, having somebody that comes in from a larger city that's going to train with something that's not very conservative is very important. I mean, one of the first questions I ask providers is how many genders are there? And if they can't give me an answer of that, then I don't want their training anywhere in our county. And so I haven't asked them that, but that's questions like that. I think with 150,000, nobody says it's not going to help, but we need to maximize that help as much as possible to make sure. I don't want to get somebody here and then the probation's like, well, what about us? Like they said that we were going to be here, we were going to be getting these hours, and then they don't because it's just related to drug court. So, I mean, I think we all have the same vision. We just want to make sure we intertwine that network and those resources as much as possible to where in 3 years, it is self-sustained. In 3 years, people are like, well, that didn't work. I'm leaving. I'm going back to Toyo or something like that. So, I mean, we have a potential to either shatter something and screw it up completely, or we have something that we could invest in our community and make sure it sustains for decades. And that's why we just want to make sure, me personally, I just want to make sure we all work together and get it to where in 3 years, people say, well, that's not what I thought. And then it shatters and breaks. So, I mean, I don't mean when those questions, I don't mean to say you're not helping. We just need to make sure that we all intertwine those resources as much as possible. So that's why I was just making sure that guy or girl, who, if it is Rico or if it's somebody else, like how closely the drug court, that was my question. Just, is it specifically drug court or just?
I don't
around
think it
it.
would be specifically drug court, because I believe like a peer support specialist is there to help anybody in which they can relate to.
Right.
And so maybe they have a kid at the school that is struggling with addiction, that's
Right.
through the probation. And that's something that they can really relate to. I don't see why they couldn't go. Okay.
Well, no, that's fine. I mean, when she said their discretion, I just want to
Yeah.
confirm or clarify that
That's
statement.
my
So,
thought on it.
okay.
So if we were to say, we'll give you 50,000 for the next 4 months, see how that turns out. Is that doable?
in,
Not that it was gonna be more of a reimbursement.
it
Well,
is.
that's what I'm saying.
That's what
Yeah,
it says in the-
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We will reimburse in the next 4 months.
This is
And
a-
instead of just saying, here's 145,000,
I think all we're doing is earmarking that 145 and
So that
saying,
they
if
don't
you can
get that.
provide us bills that coincide with this right here, then we will reimburse up to 145.
okay.
That's
Not
my
that we're writing
understanding.
them a check for 145,000, but as they incur expenses. Is that right?
Well, can I add, and another thing that's gonna give y'all is when they come for reimbursement, they're gonna say, this is what. And you guys are gonna be able to look, say, is this consistent with what we were told and what was in?
With the plan, yes.
There
So
is,
you're doing on an incremental basis. So you're not.
Not
giving
just-
all at one
okay.
time. You're
That
doing
makes more
incrementally
sense.
as they spend money, they come back and say, this is what we're spending on.
Can we put a time limit on?
Craig did that.
So what I
Wow.
did, and the reason I did it is I indicated that all the amounts would be
It's-
spent by September of 24. The reason I did that is we have to have everything spent by the end of that year. So if something happens and they don't use all the money or y'all don't approve all of it, you can use that money somewhere else before the deadline. That's all. It is.
Okay,
But it's also to kind of set a timeline and say, let's
Yeah.
get this done.
Mhm.
and can I also request something that be added into the agreement? All of our other agreements with the nonprofits, they have a little clause in there that says that the county has the right to audit the financial,
Right.
you know, that we can request their records.
That's one change, and the other change is I want to put the addendum. I want to put that into the contract. I can do that.
Because we
Whatever
will,
that is, if it's its main agreement or if it's something different.
we will have annual, you know, reporting that we have to do to the federal government. And if for some reason we need additional information, I want there to be something that we can.
Our biggest references. All the time.
So now that I have this, I mean, I just got this, but I hadn't even had a chance to read it. I mean, I personally would like some time to, you do have a little bit more ideas and details on this. I would like to look into that and kind of into Via Hope and all that stuff. And just see, I mean, especially since we, the attendant, and we're making this some changes on that. I mean,
Are we, Julie? Are we under a timeline?
Not necessarily. I mean,
You just can't really move forward until you
There-
get some
right.
assurance that we're gonna,
and we know we threw this at you today, and it's like I said, I apologize, but until Friday at noon, I couldn't have. We had a rewrite before then, but we've rewritten that
Right,
rewrite.
yeah.
Okay, so with respect, you need what time you need. Just know that I know you want more, but I can't do more unless I know I have the money, because I don't have $145,000 to be United dollars. That if you don't come through with this, and I make a commitment to someone, I can't cover that.
Right.
So it's
as,
kind of
as
that.
far, yeah, I mean, that is a balance. As far as the agreements and stuff, I mean, you're just getting, I mean, you're not locking somebody in. I mean, it's just like estimates too. I mean, we get exactly what it would cost them. We're not telling them to relocate, but that was what, I mean, I know you can't pay somebody, but we can get a rough estimate on.
what
that
you just
stuff
needs to
before.
know though, because I wouldn't, if I was a director, do all
go out
this
and
work,
offer
yeah,
someone.
and then know
"Hey, we
that,
can
hey, sorry.
incentivize you to be here, but we really don't know if we've got. the right."
Organization
I
look
get
bad. It makes your
Right.
organization look bad. So I understand
Yeah.
why you need a kind of a, yeah, this is there.
Right. Now, can I spend 40,000 and you reimburse me? Yes, as long as my board knows that there's
There's
that
money coming back,
possibility, right?
yes.
They'll let me do that.
Well, I like the timeline. I definitely
Our next meeting's the 14th
14th of
November.
November.
Y'all want to revisit this?
Does that impede you guys?
No,
moving
I
forward
mean,
with
I'll
this
just,
new one?
just the people we've talked to, we're trying to get the RAD program dates solidified so that we can start advertising it, but again, it doesn't impede us. We're just, you've been waiting on us, I'm waiting on you. It's just, as long as we have an understanding that we're doing our part, we're trying to get there, but we need the respect and the understanding from y'all what we're trying to do.
And Craig, I'd like to move that date even further back so in case we're planning the budget for the upcoming year. So I would say May of 2024.
Okay, but just remember, I can't spend a salary before he works. Right?
Well, I'm talking the
Final.
the completion. So when we go into the budget prep, we realize this is what's still left.
Maybe we could word it more of, y'all will reconsider it at that point.
Yes.
Maybe not, it's just.
Right.
Y'all get to consider it. at that
Yes.
point And decide whether to pay any.
Yeah, that would kind of help if we had to future plan with some of that for budget.
Any other questions for
I don't have
Julie?
any questions.
Can I sit down?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank y'all. We appreciate.
Thank
working
you.
with us.
So you might just put that in your head too. If you want to come back on the 14th, hopefully we'll have a little more time to look at this stuff and let Craig revise, and we'll look at the information that you presented us. Go from there.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We have a ARP grant request from me for new carpet in the courtroom. I think the carpet was replaced 25 years ago, I think is what I was told. I'm wanting to go back with some carpet tiles, which I think most of the office are using at this point so if something happens to one, I think we can take it up and replace with instead of the whole actual carpet. I did get an estimate from Anthony's to do the whole courtroom up here, the jury box for $65.27. Y'all got questions?
I don't have any, and I know kind of new, but doesn't all of the structural stuff go through the commissioner over the building?
The
Like paint
courthouse.
colors and all that, would that be, you and Ben talked about this?
I don't know if we have talked about this, but I
mean-
think he knows that I was gonna ask for carpet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he knows that, but he didn't really have a say on paint color in here. But I do have carpet samples over there that anyone that would like to, if approved, that would like to choose one, because I don't want to make a choice. I can't. I'm not very good at that. So. Thoughts? And hopefully at some point we can get the pews recovered. I'm working on that with the prison people. Hopefully.
I move to approve the ARP funds for the carpeting of the county judge's courtroom and
The whole thing.
attachments.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Wrong for me to vote. Okay. All right, the next one is from Constable Precinct 2 for some upgrades to her office. Angelica, do you want to address that?
So I sent some pictures. I don't know if Jerry has them or not. It just shows a lot of stamp and stuff.
Did I give those to you? I'm sorry. I should have emailed them to him, but everyone's seen them. I made everyone copies of them.
Okay.
So they've seen them.
So, yeah, really just recarpeting or not recarpeting. I apologize. I'm listening to you. Carpet. I planned on doing wood planks. They're the snap together.
Like hardwood or vinyl?
Yeah, like a hardwood. Well, it's not wood, it's vinyl, yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't do wood.
No. It's the vinyl.
Kind of like the vinyl flooring we all have in our offices, which looks like hardwood, but it's vinyl. Okay.
So I don't know if y'all want to look at this, but this is the one that I did choose. I went with ANC.
Oh,
flooring.
yeah.
So it
They
kind
put
of goes
down all
with,
of ours.
it kind of goes with my, more of my cherry wood stuff. So, and then I'm going to move offices. I'm planning on moving in that bigger office right beside, and I think, it
Used to be the courtroom. Mhm.
So I was planning on doing that. And the reason behind that is because I don't know if any of y'all been down at the annex building, but the way that the rooms are set up where I'm at, it is like, show you a picture. I'm way back here in the back. So like you
There's
have
a
to.
little
look through-
entry room that used to be the clerk of the JP, and then there's a bigger office where you're at right now. right?
Yes, and then like the lights are set on a timer, so whenever the front light goes off, you can't, I mean, like, I'm back there in the.
You have to get up and walk out there.
Yeah, so I'm wanting to move in that. Me and Gary did talk about it. And I also talked about if I do move into that other office, he said that if I found a door, that we could reuse down the hall that had like a window, that I could trade them out and put them there. So that way it's more utilized for a office for.
And then what happens to those other two offices? The sheriff's office still using those some?
So the sheriff's office was using that front room for the interview room.
Right.
And they quit utilizing that one. They're using that bigger office for a meeting room.
Mhm.
But I talked to Marcel and Andy and talked to him about like why they use it and stuff. And they use it just for training. So Andy said that they can use the training room
Right.
across that is utilized for everybody in the annex building. So,
Makes
and I
more
did
sense.
find a door.
It makes
my
more
JP
sense.
My JP has a door and I'm gonna get Dwayne this week to see if it fits and we could trade it out, because the other door, I think y'all saw it as just a solid one.
So what's the JP gonna do for a door?
Well, this one.
This one goes into the
inside.
workroom?
Yeah. it
or
goes
the
into that
storage
back
room? Uh-huh.
Yeah, so they said that they don't need it, so that way it doesn't cost anything
Okay.
more. We could just use that and make it a little more upfront, because I'm wanting to change a lot of things there, and I want people to know that I'm there. Because before, even whenever I was working for the sheriff's office, that was the first time that I even knew that the constable's office was in the annex building. So I'm just wanting to change the culture there with, the constable's office, and really let them know that we're there and that I plan to do stuff.
So your plan is just to do that big room?
So, no, my plan was to do both, but it is separated to where if y'all want to make a decision for me only to do that big room, then I can just do that. So the invoices are together, but they're also separated. So that way, if y'all don't want to spend the money to do those other two little rooms, you don't have to. It's just whatever y'all choose to do. I'd rather just do, if y'all are gonna do one, do that bigger office to where I can live in there. And ANC also told me that the floor is readily available. So he could have it here by next week, and then on the weekend, he'd get it done. So he said he can get it pretty quick.
This is gonna be a very odd question.
Okay,
When we appointed you for 2 years and then you got to run, or appointed till November
so
election?
yeah, I'm gonna be running unopposed because nobody ran against me, so I'll be here for the next 2 years.
Okay,
She'll
So y'all
file,
push
she
it.
files a year from now to run. The election's in March of 24.
oh, okay. Sorry, that,
No, it's okay.
I'm getting everybody confused in what they were appointed for. And so
Yes.
I wasn't gonna make a decision if we were still waiting on election.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's totally
Yeah.
understandable.
Okay. Sorry, that was an odd question. And I
Understandable.
felt weird asking it.
No, but it is understandable. I mean, if I'm not gonna be there, I would.
Yeah.
You guys have any more questions for Angelica?
He said Gary was good with it.
Yes, right, Gary? I don't want to talk for you.
Somebody's got to talk for him. He's muted, but the head not works. So he can, I'll make a motion to approve this project
For all three offices?
for all.
Yeah, the total amount.
For the total.
And then,
And let Gary,
And,
if he wants to.
Before y'all go forward, I did put in there for 1 5-gallon bucket of paint because they said that that's the only thing that we needed to purchase. I put in there 2 different ones, but I put for the max amount.
It could be
I don't know if
less.
you'll use it. Yeah, it could be less.
Okay.
So I just wanted y'all to know that.
I appreciate the picture,
Oh,
picture.
yeah, I'm all about that visual.
5-gallon
I'm a
bucket,
visual
and here's a
person.
picture of what it looks like.
This is the one that I picked up. But just so y'all know the price differences.
Okay, so we have a
I
motion.
think
Gary, did you second that motion? Yes. Okay, yes, he did. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this project? All in favor?
Perfect. Thank you.
Gary? Yeah, and Gary. All right, thanks, Angela. And then the final project is from Judge Mosley. Craig, are you in on, oh, you're filling in, you're Judge Mosley for the
Oh,
moment?
it's that stuff with the judge's name on it. so
There you go.
But I'm not telling him he was last in line.
Uh-oh.
First of all, I want to make an oral motion, given the other ones for Commissioner Alexander, because he's disabled right now. To replace the old green carpet in my office, because every time he comes in, he complains about
But,
it. You better laugh.
yeah.
This idea arose before I took office. Judge Mosley invited me to a conference back in 2020 regarding trauma-informed child protective courts. And so what that means is more and more in CPS cases, we're looking to reduce the trauma for these kids and victims who are already suffering trauma when they come into contact with the justice system. And so part of that system and that idea is to develop waiting areas in the courthouse that are more conducive to calm, no drama, things like that when these people come to testify. Because in CPS cases and criminal cases, you may have victims or children here full days waiting to testify in court. And that raises quite a few problems. One, sometimes you have domestic violence victims who are here or who have had conflict with other family members who are sitting, they're either walking past their alleged abuser, repeatedly during the day, or they're actually out in the lobby if we don't have a place for them, if they've got too many people here, where they're around those people. We want to avoid that. Another thing that even came up after that is the district attorney, when they have witnesses up here, they're required by the Code of Criminal Procedure to have a separate area. And so this area that we're talking about is kind of the suite of offices that's just south of the 316th courtroom. And that used to be Judge LaGrone's office, which has a bathroom connected, and then a small room in the middle. And I'll show you some pictures here in a minute. And then the other room that's next to Captain Sepulveda's office used to be the court coordinator's office for that court. Those are vacant now, except for there's a conference table in the front room. Judge LaGrone's desk is still back in the back office, and there's some miscellaneous mismatched chairs back there. The problem that the DA's office has, for example, Teely tells me that when they have witnesses in there, they're in there, it's nondescript, just tables and chairs. And if they have to go out for anything, get something to eat, they have to have a guard. They have to have basically the investigator and the victim's rights coordinator to go with them. And so it creates necessity for additional time that they're spending on things. Whereas what we're talking about is having a place that's hopefully kind of self-contained, where there's not really much of a reason for people to leave that area when they come in to testify in either a criminal case or a CPS case. And so the application that we've submitted is with the idea of refurbishing that area to make it more victim and kid friendly. And there's several advantages to that. One is obviously to have this place be less of a stressful place when these victims come to testify, which is already a very intimidating thing to do. And so this is a part of the trauma-informed approach. Another thing is Judge Mosley is required to speak with children sometimes about their choices and preferences. And we've had conversations about when he brings a child up to the judge's office, it's a very intimidating space. And this is something where Judge Mosley could go to the child in a place where they've already spent a little time and they feel comfortable and be able to talk to them about some of the biggest things that they'll ever talk about in their life to that date. And so that's important. Also, we would just generally like to make a place that's not just so sterile, that's really conducive to kids that'll come. And the age of kids that we're talking about usually is probably gonna be somewhere from 7 or 8 to 16 is what we're talking about as far as kids that are able to either express preferences to the judge or testify in open court. And so this will be a safe place for them to come and do that. Jerry's got a PowerPoint that I put together. It's just a floor up, but I just wanted to kind of let you know what we're talking about. So this is Judge LaGrone's old office. As you can see, we just got some mismatched chairs and a desk in there. That's one of the rooms where these witnesses go. And then the next slide, Jerry, if you don't mind. That is the front office that used to be for the court coordinator and is sometimes used as a conference room. You see, we've got some things in there, a bookshelf and a table that we will repurpose, hopefully, to provide some seating and some storage. And then what is that next slide, Jerry? Okay, and so in kind of researching this, we've looked at other places that have made these kind of rooms and furnished them. One specifically is in Hayes County. I believe that's this one that we're looking at. This is not something that's been done a lot in Texas. We would probably be one of the first in the Panhandle to really provide a space like this. Judge Brancho's name is not on the application because I told him I just brainwaved because I was thinking CPS and not thinking about all the criminal courts. It will affect his court here. It'll be used by him. And he said he's wholeheartedly in support with me and Judge Mosley and Mark. And he's just sorry he doesn't have any space in Perryton to do it. He'd like to do it in Perryton as well. But you see, this just provides a more homey space for the witnesses, children, and victims to be. Next slide, maybe, Jerry. And this is not saying this is exactly what this will look like. But once we're able to put new flooring, to prepare the walls and paint, and then provide some furnishings that's more conducive to these types of witnesses. These are just kind of ideas that we've seen in other courts, not necessarily in Texas, but in other states. Next slide, Jerry. Everybody's real excited about the llama pictures. So you may see those if this is approved. Next slide. So just kind of gives you an idea of making a place more comfortable and inviting to these types of parties that come in contact with the justice system. We have most of the websites that talk about these approximate, well, it takes about $5,000 to do this. As you know, and that was probably 3 years ago, everything's gone up in price, but we think we're at a good spot. We've asked for $73.78. That will include new flooring to replace the carpet that's there. It'll also just involve a few items of furniture, that'll house a refrigerator, microwave, because we want to make it where people can kind of stay there and they don't really have to move around the courthouse. And then also toys and books and seating and things like that. This kind of came up because we've been talking about this for 1.5 years. That's never really kicked off. And then I was actually in my home group at church, and I looked ahead in the study that we're doing, and it said Service Project Week. And I thought, wow, God, thanks for pointing that. I mean, that's like a God thing. It's like, this is what we've been waiting for. And so I've got a home group of about 12 people. We got some other people in the church that'll help with it as far as the elbow grease part of it. We may have some people, Costa's on board, CPS and St. Francis are on board. And so they may put some work into it as well. But I think it's something we could probably get done in a couple of months. And then we would look at that time to have a reception, have all y'all come up and have Costa come in and kind of the stakeholders and let the public come in and take a tour and just kind of see what we've been able to do with that. I just think it's something that's been waiting to happen. And it's kind of all come together, and I feel like it's a really good project. If y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
I move to approve.
Well, I have a question. Hold on a minute. Well, I think it's a great idea. But in the event that the space is not being used by the court systems, would it be available for any other use? And because I know there's that bathroom in there.
Sure. So Judge Mosley and I were talking, and we estimated at most it might be 1 day a week that we actually have witnesses in there, but when we have them, we need it. So now sometimes there may be exception to that. Maybe we have a trial that's 3 days, a criminal trial, and we've got witnesses that just have to be there continuously. But yes, absolutely, it would be open. And so, there's always signs on that door.
So we're not going to lock the doors.
No, we're not going to do that. If we have witnesses there, we're probably going to have a sign that says,
yes,
it's occupied.
Occupied.
But in other, instances, yeah, if that's gonna be open, it's not gonna be a big deal for other people to use it. It's needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my only thought.
And I know we've said this with the last three, has Ben been included in this? Because our job as commissioners is to assign rooms. Actually, that's in our
Yeah,
state statute.
I have not as oversight by me. I mean, I know I sent the application to saying that he would see it.
And he did. I mean, you sent it out to everybody.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so he's seen
So
it.
no, I haven't talked to him directly
Okay.
about it, but I expected that everybody saw the application and.
Well, I love it. I think it's cool. It's very awesome. And I was just doing that as a courteous to my
No, I
fellow
understand,
commissioners.
yeah.
I know why we don't see more of this is because nobody has available space in their courthouses.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But
Well, and that's what.
we
the
do
grant I was
have,
Talking about in Perryton.
yeah, there's no
I was
space.
thinking, I think there's rent, but I haven't been up there in so long. So,
So I go back, I hereby move to approve the ARP funds in the amount of, oh, you said it,
73,
7378 to set up this room for the district courts.
I'll say.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, all right,
Thank y'all very
thanks,
much.
Craig.
appreciate it.
Your words, say hereby and wherewithal and.
Wherewithal, who
I think that those were the only projects I had unless somebody out there had a project that I wasn't thinking about.
Cindy,
Yes, ma'am.
I forgot to do the comp report. Would you go back to number 4?
I sure can. We'll go back to number 4.
Did I send these to y'all?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I thought I did, but then I thought, well, maybe I didn't do that. Okay. Okay, so this is our comp hours for September the 30th, and we do this, of course, quarterly.
Mhm.
Now, on the sheriff and the jail, it goes up through October 2nd, because that's their schedule, when their schedule ended and stuff. So I just wanted y'all to make sure it was public and stuff, that the total hours on the comp through the 30th is 2,242.96, and the total dollar amount is 59,409.68. So I just want y'all to.
Yeah.
see where
And
that-
I'd just like to say, I reached out to the sheriff's department and told
So
them
did I.
I would love to help them creatively figure out how to decrease this comp time. And how, I haven't heard back from them, but we've got to figure something out because that's quite a bit. That's 30.
I had a conversation with the sheriff as well as Marcel and
That's on top of the ones we paid out to.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Yeah, so-
always, we leave on those ones, if you noticed, it would be much higher. I mean, it is about $3,500 higher than last quarter, but it's because we paid out too, though.
yeah.
yeah.
When they do terminate, we pay them out.
Was quite extensive. And I also reached out to Dwayne regarding 2 of his on the road and bridge. That in my opinion seemed a little high. And
Well,
so,
they're not gonna pay 40, so,
yeah,
Right. Well, we can't. Then we have to start paying it, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, we have to start paying it with the regular employees, if their comp gets over 240 hours at any time, then we have to pay
Pay
it down to the 240.
To the, right,
Now, with law enforcement, it's 480.
480.
We've got a couple of people that
that are close.
close.
yeah,
So let's say they get up the next pay period to 490, we got to pay down to that 480.
yeah.
And then,
That'll happen every month.
yeah. continue.
And I told them it affects their payroll. So
Yeah.
it comes out of their budgets. So,
Okay.
and will impede their hiring.
Thank you,
All
Kathy.
right, you're welcome.
All right, item,
What impede their other spending?
okay.
They're having to move money to cover payroll from
Mhm.
their
Yeah,
office supply budget.
Do we want to approve that? Do you want a motion to?
Motion to improve the comp report?
a motion to improve it.
Not improve it. I
Oh.
might have said improve.
I was thinking,
Approve.
of course, I would like that. I motion to approve the comp report submitted.
A second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. All right. All right, item 20, consider and or approve the burn ban or rescind the burn ban. It's raining.
You know, it's an issue that turns out the drought index is a 521. I've had numerous phone calls About every day, people wanting to do some strike fires to get rid of some, usually it's household trash stuff for people that live out in the county. I'm trying to pay attention to this and hopefully it'll drop the drought index. If it does, I would it's still like to have no action at this time, looking at, because our numbers aren't going to come in from this rain until tomorrow. And looking at maybe tomorrow, if we can, and the judge can lift it, place it back into play, we have to have at least 7 days for the commissioner's court to confirm that. But right now, we'll just leave it on, see what numbers show up tomorrow. If they come up tomorrow, I'll get with the judge and see if we can lift it for a couple of days, maybe. See if we can get some of our residents the ability to get rid of some trash and clean up the property. So for right now, that's it.
Thank you. Okay, item 21, consider and or approve disposal of obsolete office equipment. I have not received any. Whereof. 22, accept certificates of completion from elected or appointed officials.
I have one from Alicia Craig, auditor, submitted transcript for 17.5 hours from the 2022 TACA Fall Conference. And that's all I have.
Item 23, consider and or approve request for use of classrooms at the Border Library or Fridge.
So December 11th and December 20th, there's 2 baby showers in there. And that's all I've got this year.
I don't have any,
None? Okay, thanks.
other than what I've already reported.
Item 24, consider and or approve line item changes, transfers and or budget amendments. We have a couple, right, Alicia?
Yes, ma'am. We've got one for fiscal year 2022. Just some line item transfers, moving money from one line item to another to cover some final September expenditures. And then one for fiscal year 2023. Budget amendment for some insurance proceeds that were received on the jail van. I mean, I'm sorry, I did not change the description on that. That's not the jail van. That is actually for.
You've got sheriff car repair and
Yes.
maintenance.
Yes, it's for the sheriff, it's for the sheriff's car. For the damages that were done during that chase that he had on his vehicle. So it's actually for the Dodge Charger.
Do I hear a motion to accept those?
Make a motion, we accept all budget amendments, line item transfers.
Oh, I second, or Gary seconded.
Gary seconded, okay. All right, any other discussion on that? All in favor? Anything else, Alicia?
I mean,
Okay. 25, consider and or approve advertising, opening, accepting or awarding bids.
have one, Gary submitted a request to go out for bid for some for a remodel job on the annex bathroom.
He's given you all the specs he needs.
Yes, it's to remodel both the men's and women's bathroom to meet ADA compliance. That includes demo the existing bathroom. Replace the old sewer lines, to tie in with the new sewer line that was put in. Install new automatic flush toilets and automatic sinks, install new LED lighting. Remodel the floor plan to meet the ADA compliance, and then install any new plumbing, walls, tiles, and other finishes necessary to complete the job.
I hear a motion for that.
Can he motion silently?
You want to make that motion, Gary?
I second it.
Okay, motion and second to go out for bids for the bathrooms at the annex. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Have them sign that.
All right, item 26, consider under approved donations to Hutchinson County. Anybody out there? Okay. 27, accept reports from elected or appointed officials.
I have Dwayne Chisholm's written report and Kathy may want to speak to her financial report. I don't know.
No.
Okay, tax pool rate as of October the 11th was 2.88%.
Well, today it's 2.96.
Oh, wow.
Getting up there.
Hmm. Right, thank you. 28, discussion of county judges and commissioners precinct daily operations. Is Monica still here? No. Oh, okay. Well, I took off the jail and the courthouse thing because we've had it on there since train moved into the courthouse. And I think that's why it was on there. So I thought we would get her report at this time on the daily operations, but that's okay. I'll give her the heads up next time. You guys got anything on the precinct daily operations?
So Open Range had their contractors out to the museum last week and they excavated that portion. They found a ton, I don't know if it's probably time judge, but before, they had leaks on both sides, the north and the south side wall. And so they had concrete put in on the south side. And then they put gutters and drainage on the north side. And then when they excavated this east side, they found that the old mortar bricks that they used, all the mason bricks that they used, the mortar was pretty much shot. It was all dissolved. There were several pipes that were cut and not capped. And so, there was just openings into the back of the museum on that end. So it was a nightmare, but it's promising that project's going to fix it. So they came in and they sealed all the holes. They re-mortared that area, put the waterproofing tar material down, put some fanfold insulation material on the backside. Obviously it rained today. So the next couple of days, when it dries out, they're going to bring the dirt in and replace it. We're probably either going to have to ask for a contingency or ARP money for when they went to excavate the dirt. They thought they were going to be able to leave the pipe fire escape railing. They thought they were going to be able to leave that, but it was only set in the ground 6 to 8 inches. So that rail, it's probably 8-foot rail was never even properly set. It was that far in the ground. So
Right. Yikes.
they went to move and the pipes were full of water and rusted out anyway. So we're going to have to do a change order on that. But sometimes when you run into that, you find it. So, and I'm in talks with Scott Franklin, the TAC group, that flat roof stuff about the roof of the library, because we did have the insurance report back on that. So we're going to next month or two, we're going to get a plan on that and proceed appropriately. Well, I've got.
I don't really have anything in particular, just a question. And y'all might know this. So let's say I'm doing repair at the library, like I've got to do the weather stripping and the threshold of 2 doors at the library. That's going to be $50. Probably less than that. It's so much easier for me just to do it and not just pay for it myself and not charge the county. And I've done already, I'll be honest, I've changed out the toilet gears before since I've been commissioner and not submitted any kind of report because I can do that. Is that wrong is what I'm asking. I couldn't find it anywhere. It's like basically
donation.
a donation. And I bought a ladder for the library, little step stool ladder. But is that common and okay?
Do you see an issue with that, Alicia? Financially? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that over the years, that kind of thing has been
Well,
done.
that's what I figured.
Now, I don't know about the buying things, but
I don't mind doing it. I just want to make sure it's okay because somebody asked, why are you doing this? And I said, well, let me ask first, just to be on the safe side. So, and
Dale did that a lot.
I'm sure he did.
that's what I was,
Yes,
because these projects.
I
get
know he did
bugs.
the work.
Well, he did, yeah, I was gonna say he did the work. but
I don't know
he-
about buying the part.
Yeah, he didn't, because what we do, like we
Yeah.
have the line item at ACE, we just say I'm buying
Yeah.
for the,
Did
I mean,
lots of
yeah.
work.
Yeah, he did a
I
ton
don't
of
know
work.
about buying it yourself.
Now, if it's going to be in the 1,000,
Well, yeah,
Well, it's just easier. I'm there at Walmart and I sometimes forget. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, we need a ladder. Yeah, add it to my deodorant and cereal purchase.
that's up to you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when you get that credit card, you can use it.
So do I need to submit anything of what's happening inventory wise? These are things I don't fully understand. I've donated so many things to the city when I was there without thinking about it. So I'm just asking.
Just don't take it with you when you go.
Yeah, I'm coming back. I want this door.
This is mine.
Yeah. Okay. All righty.
Thanks, Dwight.
But if you ever do get when you do get a card and you want to do that, then you have to make sure that it is tax exempt. So
Yes.
Okay,
use it at the Walmart.
okay, anything else? On,
Can't agree with you over.
Yes, exactly.
Right. can't get your daughter
Or
tax
cereal.
rate.
Pumpkin spice
I'd make a
cereal.
motion to approve that in funds and not just sit here.
All right, 29 is to approve any struck off tax properties or tax deeds. We have none.
That's unusual. We've
I
had
know it
quite a
is,
few
but
where,
we haven't had a lot lately, so. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, I took that out of my folder and I had it in there and then I took it out. So, yeah, so no, Nancy has some information from the library in regards to a grant that they received.
So I come bringing good news. I don't want anybody, I'm just telling you, thankful for the funds that we did get. I've been working with a gentleman at Advantage Preservation for about a year and trying to get this grant all figured out. So what it will do is actually digitize our microfilm, and that's going to be the Borger News Herald. So what they'll do is with this grant and the grant that we were awarded, we've already gotten the check. So I told her, hang on to it till, I make sure we get everything. I did have Craig go through and look through the contract. We got his approval on it. And our grant is in the amount of $36,400.
oh, that's cool.
Yay,
So-
good job.
Thank you. So it will actually digitize about 225 of our microfilm. I don't believe it'll do all of it, but we'll take this, see what we've got, and then, kind of go forward on that. He will actually, there will be one report that is due at the end of the project. They will send us all the packaging. So once we get it to the company, it will take him, I think he said just 90 days to get it done. My concern, so they put it on a website, they take care of the website. I wanted to make sure that if we went to all this trouble, who knows whether or not they're going to go out of business, what long term, we wanted to make sure that we took care of that. They will provide us with copies. I don't know if it's going to be like on a hard drive or if it's just going to be CDs. So they will provide us a copy of what they have digitized. So at least that way, if we ever need to.
There's a backup.
Yes. So I think
Is this a grant that's possibly available in future years for you to apply for? Is this just kind of a one-time thing?
this, you can apply every other year.
Oh, okay.
This Ladd and Catherine Hampshire Library Foundation, that is specifically what they are here to help the smaller
The rural-
population
rural.
under
Mhm.
50,000 public libraries.
Okay.
So since, he said we had a really good chance of getting it since we had never applied for it before.
Awesome.
So
Good job, Nancy.
anyway, thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Good job. And sorry, I don't know why I took that out.
That's okay. I have the contract for your signature.
Oh, okay.
So I think I made 2 copies.
Okay, can I just sign it and give it to Jan so she can put it with our minutes, or do you need this back?
Need it back.
Okay,
And then
well-
also a copy for Leisha. And
And I need a copy.
Yeah, so I'll sign it and give it to you.
Okay. I'll give it.
Okay,
that would great. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Anything else?
We probably have to make a motion to accept that, probably.
Well,
Since it's a contract.
Is it on the agenda?
no, not really. No, it was just discussion. But thought, since it already happened, I did not put that on as an action item,
We have to have a
but we can
agenda that's.
retroactively do that at next meeting if you all are okay with that.
Yeah, any contracts, just for record, any contracts any department goes into that the
Have to
court
be approved by the
approved,
court.
they have to be on the agenda, stated what it is. And before any signatures can be added to it.
Right. Anybody have anything else?
Did you want me to go ahead and speak?
Sure. Yeah, you can give a report. That'd be great. Y'all remember Hannah, right?
So I just wanted to give y'all an update about what's going on right now with the extension service. And kind of what I've been doing the past few weeks as I've gotten started and getting things rolling. With 4-H, right now we have 2 senior 4-H teams who are going tomorrow to the District 4-H Food Challenge competition. So fingers crossed for them, they're going to do really well. But then other than that, we had a 4-H sign up night. We had all of our previous kids from last year come and sign up along with a couple new families. So I'm really excited for them. Then also at that sign up night, we had basically, I asked the kids what they're interested in. I said, here's what 4-H offers. What would y'all like to see in the upcoming years for me to try to help implement? And one of the biggest things that was talked about was a livestock judging team. We had 11 kids out of our 50 some odd kids sign up for that and say they wanted to do that. And so we're going to be having a practice for that this week.
So have y'all not done livestock judging before? Or you don't know?
The previous agent had one practice and that was.
Oh, okay. That'll be
but-
great.
So I'm looking forward to coaching that team this
Mhm.
year. And then other than that, we have, we're redoing the county officers for 4-H. And so those kids are coming on the 1st to do interviews with me, Amanda, and then I'm bringing the disaster and recovery agent from Amarillo to help interview, to kind of get them ready for scholarship interviews. And then they'll do a speech on county council meeting as well to kind of prepare them for public speaking. Other than that, on the ag side of things, right now, I'm going to be shadowing a couple different extension agents in the area for their programs this year. And then next year, I'll implement my own for Hutchinson County. I'm looking for people who would be involved on the ag program area committee. So one thing for y'all commissioners I'd like is if y'all know of anybody who you think in your area, your precinct, would be a really good person for that, let me know. But other than that, that's what's going on with the extension.
Sounds like you're busy.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Got anything for us? Okay, did Gary, are you making a motion to adjourn? Yes, he is. I hear a second.
I'll second it.
Dwight will second it.
We'll let it die.
All in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, Gary.